Good morning. Welcome in here to this edition of Shelbyville Now Sports Live. I've got with me Mr. Bill Anderson and Mr. Kenny Parker. I'm David Thomas, and sorry for being a couple minutes late. Kenny had to get the creamer in his coffee over here. We want to thank our sponsors today. We want to thank Duke Cannon Products and First Community Bank. And we also want to thank Mr. Kenny Parker for bringing us some memorabilia back from Green Bay.
Kenny Claus,
yeah, he showed up and brought prizes, and we sure appreciate that. We're gonna get a rehash of Kenny's experience at the frozen tundra at Lambeau Field when we come back. But right now, we want to stop and hear a word from our sponsors, and this is Duke Cannon Products. They're available at the Winter Circle here in Shelbyville.
A guy who runs hot, it's hard to find relief. Duke Cannon Dry Ice gives you an icy cooling effect that lasts all day without having to do anything crazy. Duke Cannon Dry Ice Cooling Antiperspirant. Crank the cold.
Duke Cannon products are available at the Winter Circle in Shelbyville at 603 Evans Street.
Oh, I bet you do.
All righty, welcome back in here. We're first going to go over some high school football scores. I know, Bill, you've got a report for us on who's moving forward into the semifinals now. We're going to the semis, right? We had quarterfinals last night. We got some local teams, and then we got some others follow up. Give us some scores there.
Giles County last night at Giles County. Sweetwater, big win for Giles County, 24-13. That was a big win for them. Giles County will be at home next Friday night, my understanding. Blackman and Oakland 48, Blackman 23. Lewis County, Decatur County. Lewis County, so Cascade lost to. Decatur County won. Riverside 33-26.
Decatur County, Riverside. That's where Johnny Frost is coaching.
Yeah.
Johnny coached for me at Cascade, and he went on to took the job at Community, and he's done a good job. They won this same game last year, so this is 2 years in a row that they'll be in the semifinals. Got beat last year by Martin Westview that went on won the state.
And there's not a lot of history but Decatur County being good in football was until he got there.
Well, they've had a little bit of but he's done a tremendous job.
Right.
Guys, we've got two watchers. One is our number one fan, Miss Helen Raby. She just said, hello, fellas. And then we've got another one, hello from Belize. Mike Lavorne is in Belize on a mission trip.
He is. That is correct.
And he just gave us a shout out. Hello, Mike and gang. Maybe Philip and Peter are around there watching too. And I think Robbie Gregory's down there with them. Mm-hmm. But they're in Belize and they're watching this morning. We want to say hello to them. All right, go ahead and give us some more. I had to throw that in real quick.
Pearl Cone went to Lexington 41-24. No shocker to me. Here's a bit of a shocker. McKenzie kicked a last-second field goal and beat Fayetteville City 20-18. I think we all thought Fayetteville would probably won that ball game.
You know, that was a battle of two undefeated teams. Right. They were both undefeated. And McKenzie supposedly got a running back
supposed to be really good.
Is supposed to be really good. So, but to go to the trip from McKenzie to Fayetteville is not an easy trip either way you go. And to make that trip and to go to Fayetteville and beat them, pretty
impressive.
They've got to be pretty good.
Yeah. What else you got?
Nolensville Page. The last time we went into overtime. This time Page by a touchdown beat Nolensville last night. I think it was 35-28.
35-28.
Good ball game. And then Henry County, who's always pretty good, they beat Springfield 27-19.
Okay.
The matchup you'll have next week with Oakland, though, will be Maryville, and we're all familiar with that.
And I think that's at Maryville this year.
I believe that's right. But Maryville's not quite had the year Oakland's had. They've lost a few games.
Yeah, but
they're always tough.
You got to look to who they lost to.
Yes.
They're still tough.
Oh yeah. And Oakland played Blackman, and Blackman played them a pretty good game. Yeah. I thought it would be
first half was closer.
Yeah, I thought it would be
But Blackman's got a couple of Mr. Football finalists. I mean, it's not like that Blackman's got some players.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thanks for that report. We also have high school basketball that started out. Cascade boys have got 2 wins. They beat Hampshire and Tullahoma. The girls beat Hampshire and lost to Tullahoma. Shelbyville Central played Nolensville, boys and girls. They both lost that first game to Nolensville. I hadn't heard community, but I think the community boys lost and the girls might have won. We're going to get into that deeper next week, as that season they're going to have some games coming up, and of course we have a Thanksgiving break coming up, so nothing will happen probably during that
And I'm
week.
going to try to get Coach Robbie Davis.
Yeah, we'll get him on here. I know
Good.
Dan Reed has also said that he would give us some insight on the community program. So hopefully we'll get to hear from some of those coaches. But now the most important thing of the day, Bill, we got to get the report from Green Bay. Our Kenny Parker made the trip.
And let's start with the Dallas game on Sunday.
Very exciting game. Just to be in the stadium, the history, and had great seats, sitting on about the 50-yard, sitting on the goal line, about 52 or 3 rows up. Old stadium, no handrails, big old tall seats. Big boy didn't know if he's going to get to his seat. And then to get out of the stadium without rolling down the steps was, but great game, playoff atmosphere.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, when you go in, you just feel the history. The stadium is built, it's cold, but when you get in the stadium, it's built so vertical. It's not like when you go to the Titans, it's built sort of horizontal.
Yeah.
And air will flow in between. At Green Bay, you're right next to each other. So you really don't get cold. I didn't get cold at either the Titans or the Cowboys game. And it was snowing on us at the Cowboys game. I mean, at the Titans game.
Yeah.
But man, what a ball game. And it's different. It's special. And I'm gonna tell you right now, those people are football crazy up
I
there.
guarantee you they are.
They are and they will let you know it. I need to invite a bunch of them to church with me, but
Okay.
they will let you know it.
Yeah. So Green Bay took that win against Dallas, which that was a big win for them.
It was a big win, and I thought they played well. The Watson boy had a coming out party. He caught 3 touchdowns. Rodgers looked great that night. They ran the ball. They really looked good.
Yeah.
Against Dallas.
Dallas was up 14 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And
That was
195 times the Dallas Cowboys had a 14-point lead.
Never had lost.
Never lost.
Never
Yeah.
lost.
Now they're
It was a big
195 to 1.
comeback.
It was.
All right. Then you had, of course, you had that gap Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What did the Parkers do them, though? Did y'all get to see anything up there?
We went sightseeing. John Davis rode up with me, and then my brother David and Lance flew in. We went to the airport and picked them up on Tuesday. But John and I just rode around a little bit. We went to the old city stadium where the Packers started, where they played from 1925 to 1956. And they moved after the 56 season. In 57, they started playing at Lambeau Field now where they are. So we saw that. That's East High School. And it doesn't look like it did then. It's artificial turf now. So, but we got to see that. And then we rode around, went to a yacht club wanted to see the big water, and found a bird sanctuary where we just saw. But we had a good time visiting. And then brother came in, and we sort of did the same thing. Went through the pro shop. You spend 4 hours in there,
And you can spend a lot of money in there, too.
and spend a lot of money. Still not see everything there is. But just enjoyed being with each other, and had a very, very, very good meal Wednesday night at the Union Hotel that my son Aaron got to eat with us, and then his boss Red Batty came by and said, "Hey, and Red's been he's been the equipment manager with the Packers pre-Favre. He was there before Favre, and Reggie White was there, so he spent a few minutes with us. And it was great. And then the Cowboys, there were Dallas people galore.
Yeah, they travel.
I mean, they travel. And I'll give it for the Titans people. They travel pretty good also.
Since you just changed gears, let's talk about that game. How did the Packers fans view the Titans during and after that game?
They had respect for them. I mean, the whole game. And I will say, I had my Green Bay hat on and some Green Bay. I was sort of a neutral. My son's at Green Bay. I was a neutral participant there. My brother and Lance was basically the same. Now, John's a PSL holder, so he was Titans all the way. Great game. And I'm telling you, right, the Titans looked very good.
Yeah.
They played very good. Their defense, both run and pass, was good. Rodgers did not have the game that he had
Against
Dallas. He missed a lot of receivers. He missed a lot of receivers that he threw to, but there were some people open that he didn't get to. But the difference, Tennessee just deserved to win. They played well. Their defense played well.
And we're down six starters. Six starters before the game started. Lost 3 or 4 more during the game at that point.
And the thing going in without being Jones, you didn't know what they're running.
Yeah.
That center did an outstanding job.
They moved Aaron Brewer from guard over. And actually, Dylan Radins played left guard and played pretty well.
I think that young man needs to play every snap, every game. He looked good. He played well. I've been impressed with him. 75.
Yeah.
Tannehill was on. He didn't miss many receivers. He hit the guy, but I'll say the Packers secondary just didn't look good to me in either game. And it's their philosophy, but in the NFL, you can't make contact with the receiver after 5 yards. After 5 yards, it's over. They're playing 8 yards. They're giving them an 8-yard cushion,
So they don't even get a
they don't.
hand
They very seldom.
The difference
play
here
man-to-man.
was Traylon Burks looked more like the Traylon Burks. He's been hurt with the turf toe, that Arkansas. He was a vertical threat, and that opened everything else up when you're able to hit him.
That and they just looked. They were open. I mean, he hit one that was open. He had another. Tannehill threw the ball well. He hit his open receivers, but he had receivers that were open. He made one bad play.
Yeah, he did.
And it was a turnover, and it happened to be. But you talk to everybody, and they saw, well, we go in, we hold Derrick Henry to 80-something yards, and we're going to win the ball game. Well, that didn't happen.
No.
And that could be a scary thought for some other people. And with the Titans playing the way they are, and I told John, I said, going in, we watched them. I don't remember who they played the week before, but they had a starting listen to this. Had a starting defensive lineman out, had a starting outside linebacker out, had a starting inside linebacker out, had a starting corner out, and a starting safety. All 5 levels, they had a start. It wasn't like all 5 levels of the game, and still played
And
well.
you had Simmons on 1 foot, basically.
Simmons.
And he still occupied the line.
Simmons on 1 foot is better than a
Yes,
lot
he
of
is.
guys on 3.
But it got so bad at the end of the game on the 4th down play at the end of the game. We were talking about this beforehand. There was 2 starters on defense out there.
Yeah.
Big Jeff and Byard.
The Packers were double teaming, of course. They were double teaming both of our defensive tackles. They were occupying 4 men. Our 2 defensive tackles had 4 men occupied on most running plays. And then you got David Long coming up there, and your linebackers coming up, hitting those gaps, and just
Dylan Cole, a guy a lot of people don't know about
Yeah.
again, has another good game.
But I also they looked well. They played well. Rogers didn't have a very good game.
Yeah.
They
Boy,
had
that Watson kid's impressive.
they had some receivers open. He didn't see them. They had been looking right, and they were open left. Pressure had a lot to do with that. Watson, while we were there, before we got there, had no touchdowns.
Right.
Now he's leading the
Five.
the league for rookies. He had 3 against Dallas.
Mhm.
He caught two or three balls against the Titan, both for touchdowns. But
going forward and I hope Aaron plays next year, of course. I really do, because Romeo Dobbs, when he gets back, look good to me. Now you put Watson with Dobbs once he gets back, and you've got a nice little 1-2 receivers there.
they got to build some chemistry, and
But they're good-looking players, both of
they
them.
are, and defense is good look. They just something's not right. There's something somewhere that's not right.
Last year, A.J. Dillon looked like Derrick Henry to me at times. This year, he does not. Something's off. It's either he doesn't. I'm not saying it.
Well, it's just I don't know. Something just
It's a lot of little things.
and it could be locker room.
Yeah.
It could be, I don't know what it is, but something's just there's. We talked about the chemistry in the locker room and how everybody that's a whole lot of football.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot. It's something ain't right.
Yeah,
Something's
there's
not
something
right.
a little off.
But by the way, on Derrick Henry, he also catches 2 balls, 141 yard on the screen. It's
Yeah.
big.
Mhm.
And he throws the ball.
Yeah,
That was to see that.
pretty
That was
good.
beautiful,
one.
wasn't
It was pretty.
Yeah.
It was pretty.
All right, let's talk about the NFL as a whole before we get into our college stuff. But thanks for that report, and thank you for the
Kenny Claus. Kenny Claus.
Yes, we
Wonderful. I love it.
memorabilia to remember that game, and that was
Absolutely.
a really good game. But the NFC, the Packers are in trouble. They got to win out and get somebody to lose a bunch. They're 4-7. They're done. Yeah.
You're done.
To be honest, I told the guys that I was with, and Aaron and I talked about it. They would have had to have won out.
Yes.
in
From
my
that
opinion.
game.
Because Minnesota's
From that
8-1 in
game.
the division. You're not going to
Well,
catch
they're
them.
not. They're not going to win the division.
No.
They've got to be one of the bottom 3.
Right.
The problem is,
But
The NFC
somebody
East record's much
in
better.
order to do that, somebody's got to
Yeah.
lose.
well, listen at this. The Philadelphia Eagles are 8-1. The New York Giants are 7-2. The Dallas Cowboys are in 3rd place, 6-3. And the Washington Commanders are 5-5. They're going to get 3 in the playoffs.
Flip that over.
Yeah.
AFC's the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AFC's the same way with Miami, Buffalo,
Yep.
the Jets, and
And the Patriots are
Titans are
5-4.
here, too.
Patriots. They're
Yeah.
the same way.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we've got 2 divisions, AFC and NFC, that could possibly have 3.
And I'm going to say
In the
this for the
playoffs.
Packers: their schedule brutal
Yeah.
because
They got Philadelphia next.
well they caught that NFC pack that you're talking about. That's who they had to play, all of them, and then they had to play everybody's.
That first place schedule.
Everybody they had to play the first place schedule, so their schedule has been, but they still haven't played very well.
Yeah. The Titans have got the Eagles next.
Titans have the Bengals next.
Bengals, then they have the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got to play the Eagles. We've already played the Giants. We got to play the Commanders and the Cowboys, right? Is that
I'm
what
gonna
we're
tell
at now?
We've already
I'm
played
gonna
the
tell you,
Did we beat them, didn't we?
Play the Cowboys.
if the Titans continue to play the way they played the other night,
Yeah.
and they get some of these starters back
Yeah.
that doesn't affect the chemistry of what they got. The thing about the Titans is they've got Vrabel,
Yeah, they do.
He may be the
and
best coach in the league. or as
they
good as any.
play like he did.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're going to play physical, and when you play physical, you're always going to be in a game.
Yeah.
They're going to play physical, and they're going to keep it. And he's got a locker room. He's got chemistry, and that's what he and I couldn't think of his name, John Robinson.
Mhm.
That's what they go. that they're not going out to just get the best athlete. They're going out to get the best athlete that fits their locker room, when they leave the stadium, when they leave the practice, they are after high
It reminds
class
me
people.
of the Belichick New England teams
Well,
for so
stand
many
up.
years.
Well, Coach
Yeah.
Belichick could take the great athlete that had fallen off the cliff a little bit, had gotten into trouble somewhere, and bring them back and get them to the Vrabel. They're going after hard. Just look at, you know, people may not like what they do, but it's not a one-man show. It's a team.
Yeah.
It's chemistry, and that's what they've got going. And if you'll hear every one of them talk how they like each other.
Yeah.
How they're working for each other.
Yeah.
And that's
Nobody in the NFL does a better job of turning the bottom of the roster like John Robinson. He's constantly turning the end and coming up with players off people's practice squads here, and look at them play.
What they do last year.
Same thing. More, what was it, 91 players, an NFL record?
And
We're
what
working
did
on
they
it
do?
this year.
And what did they do?
Number one seed in the AFC.
All right, guys, let's take a break here. We're going to go to commercial real quick. And when we come back, we're going to get into some college football, talk about SEC football, how that's stacking up. And then we're going to talk about next year's SEC realignment that they're talking about for Oklahoma and Texas, which we had some breaking news come out just yesterday from the SEC commissioner about what they're possibly going to do. So we're going to toss that around. We'll be right back right after this message from our sponsor.
For a guy who runs hot, it's hard to find relief. Duke Cannon Dry Ice gives you an icy cooling effect that lasts all day without having to do anything crazy. Duke Cannon Dry Ice Cooling Antiperspirant. Crank the cold.
Duke Cannon products are available at the Winter Circle in Shelbyville at 603 Evans Street.
Okay, welcome back in here. I want to talk about one of the products. They were talking about this cold shower, Duke Cannon, but I got a bar of soap here, Kenny. If you take a shower with this thing, when you come out, you're going to smell like you've been firing guns. Smell that right there. It's called gun smoke.
Smells good.
Yeah, it does. It matches your shirt too. But these big old bricks of soap are available at the Winter Circle.
Doesn't say big old brick.
Well, that's close enough. Yeah. Okay. And this one right here, you take a shower with it, it makes you smell like you've been sitting around a
The
campfire.
thing about it is, if you're in the shower with one of them, somebody comes in, you got a weapon.
You do.
Yes, you do.
You hurt somebody
That's
with that.
right. All right, now
Absolutely.
let's talk about college football, specifically SEC football. We've got some good games coming up.
Boy, there's some terrible games today too. It's late in the season.
Yeah,
Austin Peay,
I know.
Alabama. I mean, come on.
I know.
Hey, Austin Peay 7-3. Give them a break now. Come on, Bill.
ETSU, Michigan.
Listen, this is the week that most teams have a play-by-week before their rival.
Right.
This is the play-by-week before their rival.
Well, let's talk about it. Alabama and Austin Peay.
Oof.
I know. Does Austin Peay score?
No.
Yes.
You're going to say yes. I'm going to say they score 6 points or something.
Nothing.
7 points. Nothing. You're going to say it's a shutout.
Nothing.
Okay.
Same
All
as
right.
man.
All right. So that's at Tuscaloosa. All right. Then we have East Tennessee State and Mississippi State. Who schedules this? I mean, why?
Mississippi State play next week.
Well, they
Miss.
play Ole Miss.
So this is a week to
Okay.
work on, double up your practice time to get ready for your next game.
UMass, Texas A&M. Oof.
Oof.
Well, hey,
Well, I don't know.
I don't know about that. What's A&M done, Bill?
Alabama just line up and run on UMass. UMass is terrible.
They audible.
Right?
You say audible.
They audible. Yeah. Audible.
All right. Then we got Florida and Vanderbilt. At Vanderbilt.
And what a win by Vandy last week.
Hey, what
With
a
all the
big
kids
time.
with the flu,
Yeah.
sick, and they go up there and do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A great win
Big,
for
yeah.
Vandy.
So what does that do? It's at Vanderbilt.
Vandy's in trouble.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
Gators are on the uptick.
Mhm.
So that's going to be, I think, a pretty easy game for Florida.
I do too.
Georgia, Kentucky at Kentucky. Now, is Kentucky going to fight back here and give Georgia a game?
No.
You don't think they
The
will?
offensive line is just in such disarray there. You got to feel sorry for the Levitz kid. He doesn't really have a chance.
No, and he's like number 3 quarterback coming out in the draft this next year. And I the times I've seen him play, he's been running for his life and throwing balls up, just getting killed. I don't know.
You got to put him around. That might be. I mean, he's still doing. He's got to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Here's one that's interesting to me. Western Kentucky's at Auburn. I'm not so sure Western Kentucky doesn't give the War Eagles a ball game.
No,
Western ain't bad.
They may not be bad, but the boys at Auburn are liking the Cadillac.
They do like the Cadillac.
Yeah,
and they riding in it right now.
Don't we figure Hugh Freeze gets this job at Auburn?
probably.
With what I understand, somebody, of course, Isaac Green Bay out of they upped. Ole Miss just gave Kiffin a raise, and my brother said something to me yesterday. If you go back and Google and look at the highest paid coaches in college football, you know what they all have in common?
Come through Saban.
They came through Saban.
He's made a lot of people.
Yeah.
work.
Oh yeah. He has. He has. He would have had another name if he'd acted right. Pruitt.
But you even look at what somebody said what Saban makes. Look what the University of Alabama makes from what Saban does.
That's
$100 million a year off Nick Saban for the University of Alabama right there. So if he's getting $10 million, that's just 10%.
that's
Pretty
tight.
good commission. Though.
Right.
Yeah, that's tithing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what that
right.
is. That's what that is. All right. West Kentucky and Auburn, y'all both taking Auburn in that, and I will too.
But I think
All right.
Western Kentucky covers the spread. I think it's
It
closer.
could
I
be.
think
It
Auburn
could
wins,
be.
but I
It could
think the
be.
spread, Western covers the spread.
Auburn's not going to score a whole lot, but they're liking the Cadillac.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Tennessee at South Carolina. The big storyline on this is Jalen Hyde going back to his home turf and playing.
And they're wearing the Stormtrooper uniforms tonight.
They're wearing orange helmets, aren't they?
Orange helmets with all white. Orange helmets with a white tee, as they call it, their Stormtrooper package.
I don't like all white. I didn't like Green Bay's outfit the other night when they played the Titans. I didn't like that all white.
They look
Yeah.
like the Michelin muffler man running around there.
You know, that's,
I'm a traditionalist, but these kids love the uniform changes. It's the
Yeah.
new way of things.
I saw 3 Green Bay games. They went old school and they lost. They went new school all white and they lost. And when they played in the traditional stuff,
They won.
they won.
The green and the gold.
That's right.
All right. So Tennessee
I
at
don't think
South
this game's
Carolina.
close. I don't think this is close.
Tennessee's not going to play another close game until they get into the college football playoff.
I think you see my boy Aaron Milton in the fourth quarter. It's so bad today.
All right. So we've got Tennessee going to South Carolina and kicking them around a little bit. You think what's going to be the final score? Bill?
Tennessee puts 50 on
50. All right. What's South Carolina going to do? 20?
20,
Okay.
24.
I'm not going to disagree with that. You going along with that one?
Yeah, Tennessee's
Okay.
going to play.
All right. Ole Miss at Arkansas. Arkansas's had a disappointing year. Ole Miss coming off the big loss to Alabama. What's
Arkansas's
going to
quarterback
happen
being
here?
hurt's really hurt them.
Yeah.
He's not as healthy as he should. Or, I think it's hurt him. I just got to think of Kiffin and Ole Miss here.
Ole Miss can play.
They can't.
Yeah.
Hey,
Kiffin runs the football.
here's my deal with all as I've looked at. You look at Alabama, you look at Ole Miss. Heck, you look at Dallas when they lost to Green Bay. You look at Green Bay when they lost to. When somebody loses, people just down them bad. Alabama's lost 2 games by 1 possession. Ole Miss has lost 2 games by 1 possession. Dallas lost a game by 1 possession. And it's like the team that loses is horrible. They can't play. But if they make that one play and they win, now the other team's horrible and can't play.
Yeah.
You've got to wins and losses are big, and there's nobody wants that poor old me.
Yeah.
But there's some good ball. There's some teams with 3 or 4 losses that are good.
Oh yeah, they are. All right, so you got Ole Miss, Arkansas. I'm taking Ole Miss, and I think Ole Miss. I think they bounce back big.
And I think Arkansas may have lost it a little bit in the end.
Yeah.
And the quarterback getting hurt.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. They know
they can't score right
yeah.
now.
All right, so we got UAB playing Missouri, right?
They got New Mexico playing Missouri.
New Mexico.
UAB playing LSU.
Okay, both of those.
UAB's not bad.
No, I think Missouri wins their game, and I think LSU
I got
wins
an
their
upset for you
game.
boys today.
All right, who's that?
TCU at Baylor. Baylor's going to pull off the upset today.
Baylor's going to pull off the
It's
upset.
in Baylor. Baylor
Okay.
has played really good at times, not so good. It just depends on which team shows up.
All
I've
right,
seen
we'll
Baylor
put a
look
star
good.
by that. That's going to help Tennessee if TCU.
It would help,
It's
but I don't think it really matters. If TCU wins
No,
out
yes,
because
wait,
the Michigan
yeah.
Ohio State should
Loses
be out.
out.
Should be,
Wait a second. Don't go there.
but it should.
But Peyton should have won the Heisman too.
And Hendon Hooker may should have won the Heisman this year.
You know, but what happened?
Right.
He got beat out by one of them Northern. If you let old Michigan and Ohio State play a close ball game, Tennessee ain't gonna jump the loser
I don't know this
Because
committee
it's-
because of the scheduling deal.
because it's Big Ten and they would have an opportunity to get 2 in.
I like the way we're doing it now. I like the way we're doing it now because there's a whole formula they got to go by.
But
And that's why Tennessee at one point jumped all the way to 1 was their schedule.
I
Right.
think Tennessee needs to be in.
But I think what
But
the
I'm
committee
just telling
wants,
you, I think
mark
that-
this down.
all that Northern votes
Yeah.
will.
If Tennessee gets in, they're going to make them play Georgia one way or the other the first game because what they don't want is 2 SEC teams in the finals.
Again.
They don't want that.
Well, it's a lot about money too.
Well, here's the thing. Let's go with it. Tennessee's 5th right now. One of those teams loses.
Mhm.
Ohio State, Michigan. One of them's gonna lose.
It'll be Michigan probably.
All right. TCU wins out. So you got an undefeated Georgia. You got an undefeated Ohio State or Michigan. You got an undefeated TCU.
Mhm.
Where should Tennessee jump one of those undefeated? So they're going to be forward.
Oh.
And if they're 4th, they're going to have to play Georgia.
And it would be in Atlanta in that scenario.
I've got a
And I don't know
comment.
that that's a big home game for Georgia. That's Atlanta's the biggest alumni of the University of
We
Tennessee.
want to always see what kind of input we're getting from the people viewing out there, and we have a comment, and it's from let's see who it's from. Dave Overcast. He wants us to go back and talk about the Packers again. So we're going to jump back to the NFL. Here's his comment. Back to the Packers when you get a chance. I'd like to hear what Kenny thinks about Rodgers this year. Seems to me his frustration with his new players is not really showing a lot of leadership. Kind of like a spoiled kid on the playground blaming everyone else. Y'all's thoughts. Kenny, I got something I want to say, but you go ahead.
Inside, my son loves him.
Mhm.
He says Rodgers is the nicest guy. He's working with these young guys that you don't see. Rodgers has a way of talking to the media to sort of tick them off.
Yeah,
Just like he made a comment the other night where somebody asked him after the game. Of course, he's disappointed. He wants to win. He's a winner. Somebody asked him after the game, "Where you going? Where y'all going after this?"
Home.
He said, "Home."
home.
But
Yeah.
just the Aaron does some stuff. He shoots jugs to a lot of the receivers, and some of the young receivers. One of them dropped a touchdown, and he was showing him how to catch it and roll your body so you roll away from the defender when you hit the ground. Rodgers, what is seen by the media, and Rodgers, what is seen, according to my son, behind the screen in the locker room, totally different. And I said, there's some bad chemistry there somewhere.
Yeah.
And Rodgers wants to win.
Yeah.
Rogers is a winner, but Rogers is more mad at himself right now after he's more frustrated with himself after the Titans game where he missed some plays. Yeah, he missed a play here and the receiver might have done something.
Yeah.
But he missed throws that he knows he should have made.
Yeah,
And
I know one play that they were diagramming on the replay. He was scrambling to his right, and not a receiver followed him. Not a receiver got in a position, left him hanging out to dry, and he could have stomped off the field mad, but he didn't. He didn't, and I see that type of frustration too. But he doesn't show that nearly as much as he does.
But I think when you're playing
when
a team like the Titans that's physical and rushes and you're getting popped, you've gotten hit a few times.
Yeah.
It makes a difference to where
it does.
because
But
you better get rid of it or you're going to get popped.
I understand what the viewers say, but I'm gonna tell you, he's a little different.
Yeah.
He's a little different, and to be honest with you, he makes, according to what he does a lot of that on purpose in his
Yeah.
and he wants, because he's wanting to draw that attention toward him instead of them.
It's sort of like Lane Kiffin does.
And but I think there's now, is he a perfectionist? Yes. Does he think everything ought to be? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But he just puts a lot of pressure on himself, and by putting the pressure on himself, it's to the other.
Right.
He's won so much. It's just like Alabama. He's won so much that everybody's waiting on something wrong so they can pounce on it.
Yeah.
I enjoy his podcast with Pat McAfee. It makes me
Yeah.
laugh.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh. That guy's funny, Pat McAfee.
Yeah. I was watching one of his videos when he was a punter. He had some of the hardest hits in the NFL
He did.
those few years as a punter. Just
I
knocking
watched him
people
jump in the
out.
Tennessee River on College game day.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this about Rogers, and my son is glad he's changed his name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not Baldy anymore. It's Double A now.
Okay.
Double A.
Double A.
All right.
All right, guys. Let's go back to SEC and kind of talk about the SEC in general. Next year we have the realignment coming. We have Oklahoma, Texas joining the conference.
Is that starting next year or
20
years?
2024.
Yeah.
In 2024, I believe, but next year they put things in place for the next year. So in 2023, the conversation is going to come up, and they're going to have the scheduling starting to come out. And the rumor is, and this came off of Yard Barker this morning, that what's his name, Greg Sankey, our commissioner, said that they might do away with divisions and just go to like the other conferences are doing, not having an East and West, but just have
There's
the
only one
conference.
conference that's like it.
Who's that?
Oh,
The Pac-10, the Pac-12.
yeah, no.
They don't have
The one that
divisions.
TCU and
The Big
what-
12.
Big 12.
Big 12. Yeah, the Big 12.
Big 12.
Yeah, those Southwest Conference.
But how many
Yeah,
times have we had the East and West that wasn't the two best teams over the years? Think about
Well,
that.
seriously,
Yeah,
I mean,
this year.
it's
Right. It's this year.
This year.
this
I'm
year's
sorry.
one, and then before this year, the last few years, it's been the other
The other
side.
side, yeah.
But
It was like
So-
the East came in and they weren't, whoever finished second in the West was the
But
best.
it will change. Here's what's going to change. I see it. I agree with it. However, why would you play any kind of out of conference competition? Because now all of a sudden, when you do away the divisions, the overall record's really important. So I wouldn't go play anybody that was worth anything. I'd be playing a bunch of Austin games.
when you go out of conference like that and you play them, it's not going to be like the NFL.
What I'm
It'll-
saying is,
it'll
if you
still
both
be-
got a 7-1 SEC record, the next tiebreaker, unless you played head to head, will be overall record, right?
I would say it would stay within conference.
But if you're tied and haven't played each other, it would go to overall record.
I don't think it would go overall. I think there will be some wording in there to keep you from doing that.
Right.
I think if you're tied, to me, to try to get people to play your better stuff, if you're tied 7-1, you look at your in the conference. Who did you beat in conference instead of overall?
Now, have y'all heard they may go from the 12 games we're playing now to 11, which I think we need to go back to.
for the playoff system.
Right.
Yeah.
Go back to 11. But I think that'll do other conference title games. Once we expand the playoffs to 12, what's the point? A conference, I mean,
Well,
what's the point? The point is the money, and that's
no,
why they'll keep
no,
playing it.
the conference game is important because a couple of years ago, the Big East, the Big 12, y'all call it now, didn't get somebody into the playoffs because they didn't play a conference championship.
But that's
game.
with 4 teams. Once you've expanded to 12, basically everybody's
Yep.
in.
But
Then what will they do? Sort of like they do in basketball, have a selection committee and select the 12, or are they going to do what
I
they're
just think
doing
12
now?
is too
Just
many.
rank
Start
them?
adding up the games here. If you stayed at 12, you got a conference champion. Let's say that's 13. Then you're going to play the playoffs.
But-
You're playing an NFL 16, 17 game schedule in college football.
but
It's too many games.
the schools have got to have that money for that 12th game. That's we don't. The NCAA is not making any money off the games. It's the schools. You take away that game, we just made fun of it. Alabama and Austin Peay. You're taking away $1 million that Austin Peay is going to get because they're not going to be able to play that game. And Austin Peay is really looking for that $1 million
Right.
to run their program because you know you can go to 3 Austin Peay home games and all 3 of them together won't make the money that they're going to get
Right.
when
All their
especially
whole schedule.
when Alabama pays their whole ticket, all the cost, and then give them that money. Who'd you say East Tennessee was playing Mississippi State? You get those kind of games. We make fun of them, but that's how some of. Well, heck, Alabama played. Who was it this year that they beat? And Bobby Bowden was their coach, and he said, "Well, yeah, we lost the game, but we gained a weight room.
Right.
Yeah.
We gained a weight
Yeah.
room because that's the money that they got for that game was building their weight room."
All right, guys, let's change gears one more time, and we're going to wind down. But Thursday, turkey and football, guys. Turkey and football. My favorite holiday of the year.
I agree.
Just family gets together.
Yep.
We have our feast.
Got the
We
Lions and the
reside,
Cowboys.
we reside to the den, turn the TV on, take a nap, and that ball game's going on. Just kind of over in the corner, and you can catch the score every once in a while. You can stand up and watch it every once in a while. And you know, you just kind
If
of
you want to watch football,
Yeah.
it better be ham instead of turkey.
I know. That's the
because
problem.
turkey gonna put you to sleep.
Exactly. That's the nap I'm talking about. But on Thanksgiving, we have Buffalo at Detroit, the New York Giants at the Cowboys, and
That's
New
got-
England at
Can I
Minnesota.
ask a question about this Buffalo
New
game?
England at
In
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Wow,
That's a good game right there.
those are 3 pretty good ball
Yeah.
games.
Explain to me the Buffalo Cleveland game. You've got a blizzard, right?
No,
Right.
Buffalo. It's
We
not.
moved it to
Cleveland.
Detroit. Well, we moved it to
No,
Cleveland
but
Buffalo game. We moved it to Detroit
Was it Cleveland they're playing? I thought Buffalo.
this
was.
Sunday.
This,
I was
yes,
talking about this
Sunday.
tomorrow.
So you got a blizzard. You know you moved the game Thursday. Why is Buffalo flying to Detroit today in the middle of the blizzard? Wouldn't you have?
Because they won't be able to get out of there.
Well, they could have got out of there Thursday when they moved the game. Why wouldn't you have gone in?
Here's the thing. This is me thinking about that. Buffalo's flying out more than just their players. They're probably flying out their parents, their families, and all
But
that.
didn't it hurt you to wait 2 days to when it really blizzard's already hit when you could have got out of there Thursday?
I don't know.
But I do think it's an advantage for Buffalo a little bit if you're going to that Thursday game where I'm going to go back to it. Now they're in Detroit. They play Detroit.
Yeah.
So they're going to be there, which I would think is a bit of an advantage.
But that's the matchups we have. That's 3 good ball games. Usually you got 1 good one and 2 stinkers. You know.
And the Giants
And I'm gonna
Cowboys
tell
is going to be a good game. The Giants have played well.
Hey, this Detroit team, their coach
I like him.
reminds me a whole lot of Rabel.
Yeah.
And the guys love him.
Yep.
He's playing that kind of ball.
Give him some time.
Give him a little bit of time.
He's getting the most out of what he has.
All right, guys. It's been a good one. What do you got?
My son said he's going to get to go to Philadelphia. He was not going to get to go to Philadelphia, but they had to have an extra manager. Why?
To block the
Trivia
batters.
question.
To block the batters.
Why did they have to have an extra manager when Aaron's going to Philadelphia? I hope somebody. I wish I'd have asked this
I
earlier,
don't know, but
so we could have got a feeling.
I got a feeling you're gonna tell us.
To put the jackets on them because it's a cold weather game.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
To put jackets on and off of them because they got to have extra people to do that.
All right. We learned something today, Bill.
We did.
Guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate you guys bearing with us and talking with us. Actually, we appreciate the participation. And again, we want to thank our sponsors, First Bank of Shelbyville here in Shelbyville, and Duke Cannon products available at the Winter Circle here in Shelbyville. We'll be back with a post-Thanksgiving show next Saturday, and we'll start at the same time at 9 o'clock. Thanks for watching, and happy Thanksgiving.